Hello there. I want to tell you guys a story about my first injury experience. This happened a long time ago. I was probably about 7 years old. Me and my dad went fishing. We took two different boats. He was in the front and I was in a tube tied him back. We traveled across the water for about 2 hours and finally we arrived and my dad unhooked the boat, started the engine and drove off. All I could do was wave. I looked over and noticed a black figure. It kind of looked like a black cloud, and I didn't really think anything of it. It wasn't until I was surrounded by that black cloud that I realized it was actually a swarm of bees. How terrible. I was so scared. But before I finish that story, I want to tell you guys about this hat I had. It had a whole bunch of different lures and fishing hooks on it. You know, I thought it was really cool. Like, it made me look like a really experienced fisherman. I used to just brag all the time. I mean, I was young. I was only 7. What did I know? Anyway, back to the story. I was completely engulfed in this swarm of bees, and I was just wailing my hands around trying to get them away from me when one of my fingers got stuck onto one of the lures on my hat, and there my hat was just hanging from my finger. So I thought maybe I'll run and dive in the water and the bees will just go away. But before I even did that, they went away on their own. And there I was, with just the hat hanging from my hand. Didn't really hurt, probably because I was in shock. I just looked at it, kind of fiddled with it. Finally, I got my hat off and put it back on my head, but the hook was still stuck in my finger. I tried and tried to pull it out, but it was stuck really bad. It was stuck in the bone. The more I tried to pull the hook out, it started to bleed. It was at that point I started to feel the pain. It was throbbing. It hurt so bad. I was trying to think what to do. My dad was so far away and I looked around me and couldn't see anyone. I sat there and thought to myself and decided, whatever, I'll just go ahead and scream really, really loud. But my dad didn't even hear me. He didn't even budge. My scream wasn't heard by anyone. I looked over and I saw a cliff. So I thought, fine, I'll just walk over there. I walked all the way to the edge and I looked down and I could see the water. And then I saw this big boulder. So I went over and I picked it up. It was really heavy. I walked with the boulder really slow. Finally got to the edge of the cliff. I picked it up onto my shoulder. I looked down. Could see my dad in the distance. So I dropped the boulder and I watched it. It fell all the way down to the water. Then it made a huge splash. I could see all the ripples going across the water. I looked up and over. I saw my dad. He kind of popped his head up. I thought maybe he's noticed me. So I started waving my arms and jumping up and down, trying to get his attention. Then he started to turn the boat around. I was so happy. Yes, I thought to myself. He started on his way and I was just waiting there in so much pain. So my dad kind of looked at me and decided we need to attach the tube and go ahead, drive to the hospital. And I thought, 2 hours? I gritted my teeth and just sucked up the pain. And my dad thought I got in a really bad accident, but I explained to him about the bees. And he told me, when you see a swarm of bees, you need to run. Now I even explained to my children, if you see bees, hurry up and run, try to hide. And I encourage you guys to warn all your friends and family, spread the word. Don't be curious and try to find out what the swarm of bees is, okay? Get away. Anyway, back to the story. So I was attached to the back of the boat. We finally got to the hospital. I got in there. The doctor worked on my finger. They gave me a numb shot. Got the hook out. Finally they were done. They wrapped it up. And that was it. And I said, okay, Dad, I'm ready to go back fishing. And my dad said, no, you'll have to wait until next week. And I was really disappointed, but I didn't say anything. So now if any of you guys want to share your story about your first injury experience, go ahead and send it to me.